Hi, my name is Atira V, and in this video we are going to discuss about learning and various theories of learning. So what exactly is learning?
Learning is defined as the permanent change in behavior due to direct or indirect experience. It means change in behavior, attitude, due to education and training, practice and experience. It is completed by acquisition of knowledge and skills which are relatively permanent.
Some of the learning theories which we are going to discuss today in this video are cognitive learning theory, social learning theory, constructivism, behaviorism, and humanism. Cognitive learning theory is all about understanding how the human brain works while people learn. This theory focuses on how information is processed by the brain and how learning occurs through this internal processing of information. Now, when we say the word learning, we usually mean to think using the brain. Now, this very basic concept is the main viewpoint of cognitive learning theory. Now, cognitive theory implies that the different processes concerning the learning can be explained well by analyzing the mental processes first. This theory posits that with effective cognitive processes, learning can be made much easier and new informations can be stored in the memory for a long time. Here in this theory, the human mind is compared to as the computer. And so this theory focuses on how information is received, how it is organized, how it is stored, and how it is retrieved from the mind. Cognitivism emphasizes on retention and recall through the use of quality teaching practices. Now, for an example, in a training program, the instructions given by the instructor should be organized and sequenced and presented in such a manner that it should be understandable and at the same time meaningful to the learners. For example, starting the class by showing a diagram or picture, or by narrating a story, or by giving a review quiz. Now, these all are some of the examples of effective cognitive learning. Now, the next learning theory we are going to discuss is social learning theory. Social learning theory emphasizes that people learn by observing other people whom they consider credible and knowledgeable. Now, social learning theory also recognizes that a behavior that is reinforced or rewarded tends to be repeated in nature. For example, if I am a learner and a friend of mine is a model, if I consider my friend as credible and knowledgeable, so his behavior or his particular skill will be adopted by me. That is the whole concept of social learning theory. Now, according to social learning theory, learning a new behavior or skill comes by 1. By directly experiencing the consequences by using that particular behavior or skill, or 2. By the process of observing others and seeing the consequences of their behavior. According to this theory, learning a new behavior or skill is also influenced by a person's efficacy. The word self-efficacy means a person's judgment about whether she or he can learn successfully a behavior or a skill. A person's self-efficacy can be increased in various methods. First, verbal persuasion. Second is logical verification. Third is observing others or modeling. And fourth is past accomplishments. Now, verbal persuasion means offering a word of encouragement to convince others that they can learn a new behavior or skill. Now, modeling involves having an employee who already have mastered the learning outcomes, demonstrates them to the training. Now, as a result, the employees are likely to get motivated by the confidence and success of the peer. Now, the fourth one is past accomplishments. Now, this refers to allowing an employee or allowing employees to build a list of their successful accomplishment. Now, in this way, a manager can put an employee in a situation where he or she is likely to succeed and provide training. And in this way, people understand how to do it. Now, the next learning theory which we are going to discuss is constructivism. Now, the term refers to the idea that the learners construct knowledge by themselves. Here, each learner, individually or socially, construct meaning as he or she learns. For example, I will derive meaning or I will extract meaning as I keep on learning, and my meaning will be my knowledge. Now, this is the whole concept of constructivism. Or in other words, the constructive learning theory is a theory that equates learning with creative meaning from experiences and assumption from environment. Learning is more meaningful to a student when they are able to interact with a problem or concept. If in my case, if I have a problem right in front of me, and if I have to understand what it is, then the first basic thing I have to do is I have to interact with the problem which I'm facing with. Only then learning process becomes easy. This is the whole concept of constructivism. So here the main focus point is to make a passive student or a passive group of people into active people. So constructivism is highly used in high order thinking and problem solving cases. One of the major example of constructivism is the controversial debate on some recent events, or making a student work in a real world environment, such as internships. Now, these two are the best example of constructivism. The next learning theory is behaviorism. Now, behaviorism is a learning theory which focuses on objectively observed behavior and discounts any independent activities going on in our mind. Now, this is contrary to what we have learned in cognitive learning theory. Now, cognitive learning theory is all about studying or understanding how a brain works when a people start learning or when a person starts learning. Now, exactly contrast to that, behaviorism is about objectively observed behavior. It is completely neglecting what all things are going on inside our mind. Now, behavior theorist describes or defines learning as nothing more than acquisition of new behavior based on the environmental conditions. So let's take an example. While we were children, there was a common rule in our homes. Our parents used to say that TVs are allowed only after completing homework. So in this example, the environmental condition is TV can be only viewed if we complete our homework. So it's our usual tendency to first complete the homework because we are sure that only then we can watch our favorite channel. So the behavior is more or less likely to reoccur based on the reinforcement and consequences that follows, which is the punishment or the reward. In the example which I mentioned, if I do not complete the homework in time, the consequences is I will be missing my favorite channel. Now, the concept of humanism learning theory strongly focuses on human freedom, dignity, and potential. Now, the central assumption of humanism, according to Hewitt, is that people act with intentionality and value. Now, this is in contrast with behavioristic notion of operant conditioning, which argues that behavior is a result of consequences. And also, the cognitive psychologists believe that discovering knowledge and constructing meaning is central to learning. Effective and cognitive needs are key, and the goal is to develop self-actualized people in a cooperative and supportive environment. Key proponents of humanism includes Carl Rogers and Abraham Maslow. The primary purpose of humanism could be described as development of self-actualized and autonomous people. In humanism, learning is student-centered and personalized. Here, the role of educators is that of facilitator. Now, these were some of the important learning theories, and apart from these theories, some other theories are student-centered theory, needs theory, goal-setting theory, and reinforcement theory. I hope you like the video. Thank you.